think I hate this.
Oh, yes! I hate this!
And welcome back to my channel, The Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's original Spanish anime Part 2, or Season 2, whatever you want to call it, the Idhun Chronicles. The Resistance lives on as Jack and Victoria take up arms and slowly discover who they really are and what that means for the future of Idhun. If you've been part of the Ruby Tuesday journey, you've been watching my reviews for a while, then you'll know a couple of things. One, you'll know that I find it very hard to be negative with content because I know how hard it is to make. I've been involved in films, short films, I've been involved in features, I've worked on them, I've worked on adverts, TV, you name it. I have the degree, I have an IMDb credit list. So I understand how hard it is to make content. So whenever I review content, I come from a perspective of, right, I know how hard it is. So when I do something, when I say something, I know these words can affect people, especially the creators. So I always find it very hard to be difficult. That's one thing. The other thing is you'll know how much I review anime, how much as a family we love anime. Just like look at my figures, look at some of my collections. I do a lot of reviews. So bearing those two things in mind, it's very hard for me to say, I think I hate this.
It is revolting!
More?
Please.
I reviewed the first part, the first 5 episodes of the Idhun Chronicles, skeptically but with an open mind, and I came from the perspective of it hadn't found its footing yet, and I was hoping that the next 5 episodes they would be able to do that, because the animation was lacking. It just felt like they were missing frames, that they didn't have enough time to work on it, so they didn't do every frame. It felt like it was like 12, 13 frames a second rather than a nice steady 20 or, you know, God forbid 24, but animation generally is less in frame, but it just feels stuttery. It also feels like they're using still frames for a lot of the work, so when you see some sort of action happen, a lot of the time you'll see a cut to a still frame being transitioned onto or just moving slowly. So they take a still and then they move it slowly, so that does feel very cheap in nature, and that's not unusual for anime, because a lot of the animes that have like a weekly rotation for the creators, it takes a lot out of them. It's a lot of work to do animation at a very quick pace, so they concentrate on the action sequences or really kind of integral story plot driven moments, and that's where they'll have the proper movement. If you watch weekly anime, you'll see that the stuff in the background, generally the people sometimes don't even have faces, and a lot of people in the background, or animals or creations or that kind of thing, they won't be moving. It'll just be the characters in the forefront moving. That is not unheard of. But this one has had a time. It's also been 3 months since we had the first 5 episodes. So I get the feeling that they actually created all 10, that they had some time to work on these 3. And we also got to take into consideration that there's been that there's been COVID in between these 3 months of time. So putting that all aside, you kind of have to judge it for what it is also. They've released it like this, saying, okay, we think it's ready for viewers to watch. I have to say that the storyline hasn't gotten any better, and I'm sure that people that have watched, and I'm sure that people that have read the books are going to be upset with this, because they love the books. Apparently it's got quite a dedicated following. Apparently the story is really in depth. The author herself has said that the dubbing is not what she agreed to, and she's quite upset by it, and I have to agree on the original language. It's the first time when I would advise listening to English if you can, if you're an English speaker, because the original language with subtitles just seems off. I don't know if it's the voice acting, the way they put it together, it just seems wrong. But when you get to the English, it feels a bit better. Having said that, if you leave the subtitles up and you watch the English at the same time, you'll see how the differences in the storylines, which is crazy. You'd expect some different words in translation, but you wouldn't expect vast storyline moments to be really obscure meanings, to be different meanings almost, which I found really odd. So it's almost like you have 2 different storylines, and then there's some moments that are completely different on the same story track, if that makes sense. So that's one major issue. Then we have the animation itself, which is an issue. You'll get what I'm saying. When you get to the action sequences, it's okay, but it still has that issue of things not quite connecting, things not really making sense. If you've watched the first parts, you'll know what I'm talking about there. An action sequence, and you'll see something cut to one thing, and then you'll see a character fly back, and even though we're dealing with magic and dragons and unicorns, it still doesn't just quite make sense. And then we get to the storyline of this time. So for example, One Piece, we've had, I don't know, probably over 1,000 episodes by now. I think we've watched 700-800. There is a time jump of 2 years where our characters have a training montage, and they come back and they're much stronger, and you're like, damn, that's cool. But we've had 600 episodes already to really get to grips with, to know those characters. Here, they do a time jump of 2 years, but we don't really know the characters. We didn't understand what was going on. There's been 5 episodes, and they do a tiny jump thing, and now our characters are meant to know more. They're meant to be more mature because they say so in dialogue, and they're not. They're immature. The characters, one of the main characters, I think Chris, is still doing the thing of being, jumping headfirst into a fight when they're meant to be working together as a team. So there's no maturity in their training, so you do wonder what has happened.
Together. Going slowly on the left.
Taking now.
No, Anakin, no! No!
In these 2 years, exactly how are you getting stronger? They just seem taller and older. They don't seem to have learned everything. So character development sometimes that's used in a book. You want them to have learned something very quickly, and a way to skip time is to do a quick time jump of literally just saying, oh, they've learned all the stuff now. Don't worry, as a viewer, you don't need to go on that journey. We're not going to put you through that. We don't need to do a training montage. They just know stuff now. And the female does seem to have learned she's better at fighting, but then we get this ridiculous romance that's suddenly thrust upon us. Like, I think for the first 2 episodes, they just really concentrate on that. And then it comes down to this like almost love triangle and figuring out who they are. And it's not where I think the readers would have really wanted the story to go. There's so much world that is obvious that it has a lot in depth. I recommend getting those books and reading them if you're disappointed by this, but you're intrigued about the story behind this anime. I would say definitely check that out. There is some score that I didn't mind. I thought the score was okay. I liked some of the fighting sequences. There was a couple of moments, I think in episode 4 and 5, I thought that was okay. That was pretty cool. But most of the time I'm just cringing because the dialogue is so bad.
My proposal yet, Victoria? Do it before I kill your friends.
It's like a badly written romance novel. The translation from book, I believe, has not been done well, or hasn't quite worked here. And so it's the first anime I can say I really hate. Unless there's a drastic change to the next episodes, if they get a new season, I would suggest maybe avoiding this and just watching one of your favorite anime. But that's just my cup of tea. Let me know in the comments below. Did you enjoy these next 5 episodes more than the first 5? Or did you think it was equally as bad or worse? I'll be interested to know, what are your top 5 worst anime of all time? I've never done one of those listings before, because I find it hard to hate any. It would probably some really random weird ones that I happened to click on and I went like, oh, okay, that's really nonsense. What is this? Or some anime that I didn't kind of understand and happened to find myself midway through a season and went, what is this nonsense? That would be how I would do the worst top 5 anime series. But for the most part, I do like the stuff that Netflix put out as well, that they sometimes say is anime that isn't, is more animation. This is one of those. There was another Spanish one, I believe, that was fantastic. San Mos? I don't know. It's a review on my channel that I did that I really enjoyed. Reminded me of Jackie Chan Adventures. But this one just, it really bothered me. It really irked me. In my notes, the first thing I wrote down is, I think I hate this. And that's generally what I would say. I wouldn't even know how to rate this. I would give it an E for exempt, because I don't think it's ready to be watched. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.